This is James Duval. Thank you so much for watching our movies and liking it. Please, just don't go out there. Hope you're well. Much love. See you around.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, get into the film review. We continue on with Horror Sci-Fi Month with Brother Mike's pick. Mike, go ahead and announce your pick and why you picked it.
Sure, brother. I went with 2024's, shout out to you, A Quiet Place Day One. Couple reasons I picked this film. I'll be completely honest. One, needed a reason to watch it. Because I like this franchise, but it's not like a super rewatchable franchise to me, which we've talked about in both reviews now. Two, I don't really care for sci-fi. So I was like, does this fit? Yeah, this fits. Great. Let's go ahead and pick this one. And I did watch it about a month and a half ago. So I was like, all right, yeah, this feels like a pretty good one. And I was like, I'm gonna stick with picking it. Three, it has a great cast. Honestly, truthfully, great cast. When this movie was announced, I was like, why are we doing on A Quiet Place prequel? Like, it just felt like something that didn't really need one. And then I rethought about it, and I disagreed with my own self. I actually think a prequel, I know Nico's going to come in and disagree, I think this, an origin story for the setup of the first one actually really does work. And even though I liked A Quiet Place 2, I actually think this one would be more meaningful as far as to the story than that one even was. So a lot of that went into my reason for picking it. Needed a sci-fi movie, needed a reason to watch it. I will say I actually really like this one. I'm probably going to have the highest rating out of the three of us that are on the show tonight. Big fan. Lupita Longo, who I'm gonna butcher her name the rest of the evening, so I do apologize. She's great. She's been really good in a couple different things I've seen her in now. So I'm just gonna put her up there as one of my favorite actresses or actors that we've covered. And it has a great cinematography. Honestly, the shots of New York City once everything kind of happens is really awesome. And there's really great shots of whatever these aliens are supposed to be. Like, I actually think as far as capturing the alien, this movie does the best job of the three, in my opinion, of the way they're shot. Now, it's not my favorite of the three. We'll get into that at the end. But all in all, I am glad I picked it because it was overdue, brothers. It was overdue, some might say. Me, I'm some. Nico is also some. It's 2024, baby.
Hey, it's been a great year of horror movies. To me, I still pretty much stand by what I said in my instant reaction thoughts. I think the movie is fine fundamentally. The acting is phenomenal from our three main leads. Lupita, she's always great. Alex Wolff, he's great in everything I've seen him in. And, of course, Mr. Joseph Quinn, Eddie Munson from Stranger Things. I thought he gave a great performance as well. But to me, this movie just feels like this isn't the story I wanted from another Quiet Place movie. Like part 2 ended with the little girl at the radio station playing the frequency over the radio. Like I want to see the ending. I don't want to see day one now. Like if you want to cash grab a Quiet Place day one after we get a conclusive ending, I'm fine with that. This movie just fell in the wrong time for me. Fundamentally, it's fine, but it's just very unnecessary, and I probably don't need another rewatch anytime soon.
I hear you. Yeah, I saw this one in the theater on opening day. And I think it's fine. It's not a bad movie. It just didn't really do anything for me. Um, I just don't know that it needed to be made. Like you said, I think if this was the first movie that was released, I'd like it a lot more. Now, if you want to watch the best Michael Sarnowski film, check out 2021's Pig. Shameless Neon plug there because I'm now watching all the Neon movies, but that was a great movie. But overall, I'm glad we're reviewing this one to complete the trilogy. And yeah, I just think it's an okay movie.
Yeah, I agree. I will give the movie credit. Like I think it knew what it was. Like I think I wrote that in my Letterboxd review. Like the movie knew it was a prequel, wasn't really asking for it, so they went really hard with the action and the emotional performances. Yep. And I like that they brought. I hope I don't butcher the man's name too bad. Djimon Hounsou. Is that how you say his name? Djimon Hounsou. Yeah. I did like that they brought him back, gave him a name in this movie. He's just not Guy in Village or whatever. His name is Henry. So I like the fact they brought him back. But it makes me wonder where the hell was Joseph Quinn in that little island that they found in Quiet Place Part 2. But anywho, any more opening thoughts where we just get into the scene by scene and I have to struggle through reading? All right, let's do it. The film starts with skyline shots of New York City and text on screen saying the city gives off an average decibel of 90. Ruben has Sam share a poem to the group. She says everything is shit, basically. Ruben has the group clap for her as activities around the facility go on until an alarm goes off. Sam admits she's a mean person, and he tells her she's going to a show in the city. She agrees to go if they can go get pizza. She gets changed and tells her cat is getting fat. She gets her iPod and changes her medicine patch out. She's on the bus with her cat and looks out the window, soaking in the views as a nice score plays along. She's disappointed it's a puppet show, saying she was tricked. She brings the cat in with her somehow as a familiar face, Henry, sits in front of them with his family. The show starts and the children in the audience love it. The balloon pops, scaring the crowd, and Sam walks out a little shook up. She walks the busy streets and goes into a store and gets some candy. Ruben takes a call and asks Sam how her pain is. He tells her they must get back ASAP and take a rain check on pizza. She's pissed and says we are getting pizza and to not tell her calm down. She snaps, saying he isn't her friend, he's a nurse. She gets on the bus angrily and sits down. The bus takes off as sirens blare and helicopters keep flying over them. The other bus riders look out the back window until an explosion happens. Sam exits the bus covered in ash and is very disoriented as chaos ensues around her. She hides by a car until she sees the alien for the first time. Someone yells, "Run, run," and the alien attacks. Car wrecks, explosions lead us into a title card. All right, Mike, that's the opening set of scenes. What'd you think?
Maybe the craziest pre-title card scene, like as far as like so much happens, it's very important to the story before we get a title card. I thought that was interesting. The first thing I actually have here in my notes is Platinum Dunes. Holy shit, where have you been? Jesus Christ. It feels like it's been forever, buddy. Welcome back onto the scene. I will say it's weird to see our guy Alex Wolff here and this kind of therapist role, for lack of a better term. I mean, he probably needs a little bit of therapy after what his grandma did to him, driving and his sister's head falling off via telephone pole. Like, it's been a tough go for our guy Alex Wolff. So, he probably needs to be the one in therapy. Anyway, that was that was shout out to Destin Franklin for the telephone pole knocking her head off there. Anyway, so man, I can't, buddy, you look like Kevin Nash from '96 right now. I can't unsee it, man. Big Daddy Cool, buddy. Anyway, I actually really like how they're making this world seem like ours. We're used to A Quiet Place already being desolate and a lot of people dead, and there's, you're having to struggle to survive, and this is such the opposite of that. The movies are always so quiet. This movie starts out loud as shit. The first 13-ish, 14, 15 minutes are loud as hell, and I think that's on purpose and very intentional. This marionette scene, very creepy, but beautifully shot, in my opinion. Maybe the most like horrifying thing, like traditional horror in the film. It was cold to not call this nurse guy your friend. I know I said therapist, but he was a nurse slash therapist person as far as what he was trying to do. I thought that was pretty cold. All my girl wanted was free fucking pizza. Like I said in the review we did before this one, a lot of pizza lately. I don't know what's going on here, man. So this does a really great job as far as to me, kind of displaying how people would act as something crazy is starting to unfold. And I think it captures that really well. How annoyed people are with having to be slightly inconvenienced. And I felt like this started COVID a little bit. So I thought it was really well done. And then we get some action, some explosion. It's just a really crazy prior to title card scene or a set of scenes to me. And I actually said it already in my open. To me, this feels like a movie that does warrant, or a franchise that does warrant a prequel, because I have wanted to know where the hell these aliens came from and why they invaded in the first place. We don't get the answer. So I am left a little disappointed there, but at least I know the origin of how they got there and what got started. So I thought it was a pretty good opening set of scenes.
Yeah, great aerial shot of New York City to open us. And I love the text on screen telling us how loud the city normally is. Thought that was a great touch. Samira's poem is great. Nice touch of comedy to establish a sense of normality. Shows us how their lives are day to day. And, everyone copes with their circumstances in different ways. Dark humor is definitely a way that I deal with things. So relatable there. Love seeing Henry here. Great way to tie in this movie with the second one. Hell yeah. Love how subtly things start to happen. Like there's a sense of urgency and emergency, in the streets, but still we don't really know how severe things will get. And this scene's one of the main reasons why I wish this movie came out first and wasn't a prequel, because it's really well done, but we know what's going on. So I don't know. It took away from it for me. I also love how when it's smoky and Samira is finding her way through the streets. I keep using her government name. She's called Sam throughout the movie, but I keep saying Samira. Anyway, we see bodies being yanked away. I love that. That's very tense. It's a very solid open. I agree.
Yeah, I think the opening scene is great. Sam wakes up coughing and has her mouth covered by Henry quickly. She's with a group of people bunkered down inside a church, not making any noise. Reuben spots her and runs to her, hugging her. He gets her cat and reunites them. A voice from a helicopter tells him to remain quiet. The cat runs off scared from the explosion and she chases after it, but stops once he steps on some glass, making a noise. How they know about the noise this fast, I don't know. The alien is outside the walls and barges in once the cat bumps into a small bell. Sam grabs the cat just in time as the alien walks by them. The monster runs from Reuben as a helicopter flies over them, causing a herd of them to chase after it. Sam turns on a faucet just enough to get a little quiet water out to wash her face off. She realizes her medicine patch is destroyed and removes it. She and others from the group run to the roof hearing explosions and are in shock seeing the wreckage. They watch in fear as the bridge falls. Someone panics, saying, "We're trapped and going to die." Henry pulls him to the side, hushing him until he ultimately must kill him for the greater good. Sam writes in her journal and shows Reuben she's going to Harlem. She's getting her damn pizza. He whispers no to her, but she says she's going. The lights go out and the generator fires up loudly. Reuben switches the lever off, stopping all the ruckus. However, his shirt catches and rips on the generator, and an alien appears like Randy Orton, snatching him out of nowhere to Sam's shop. She's back inside as the sun begins to rise, and she heads outside. She goes into a store and takes an I Heart New York bag, a flashlight, cat food, and some juice. She and the cat start their walk towards Harlem. All right, Mike, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think? Man, shout out my man Alex Wolff. I hate that he left so fast, though.
Yeah, I know, man. He was killed off quicker than his sister in Hereditary. Anyway, sorry, I have to keep bringing that up there. Shout out to Big Daddy Cool.
I will never get mad at that being brought up. So
I'm gonna call you Big Daddy Cool till you get a haircut. So just accept that now.
well, that ain't happening.
Like I mentioned in my open, I know we've seen this alien up close, but I really thought it was an excellent use of it here. And Lupita Longo does a great job acting horrified, but also curious by what's going on. I think, for a movie that just doesn't have a lot of speaking, the facial expression, she does a really great job. I feel like she was the perfect pick for this, in my opinion, because we've seen her in Us, and that was like kind of the same vibe I got as far as like the facials really giving off the performance. I thought she was great here. Love the shot of the city skyline and the bridge falling apart. I thought that was really cool. I can't imagine seeing that, and I know, 9/11 parallels here, but I can't imagine seeing that after seeing it normal just a few hours before. I mean, we're talking it's there and now it's not, right? And that's the image I got in my head. Just absolutely horrifying. Um, this man killed somebody by just covering her mouth? Question mark. Like I didn't actually see what happened there. I mean, I rewatched it a couple times. So anyway,
He bashed his head against the wall.
okay. See, that's what I thought, but like it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't know. I'm used to horror movies going and splattering it everywhere. So anyway, I do think it's interesting, and maybe this is something I miss. They kind of figure out quickly to be quiet. Like I know it's a quiet place, but like that's kind of a nitpick of mine where I'm like, how do you know noise like without giving any kind of instruction? How do you know noise is already something that they don't like? It could be anything. It could be smell. It could be fucking me. It could be you. I don't fucking know.
It could be anything.
Yeah, and somehow we have to figure out to whisper or not talk or use our like that. Okay, so a little bit of a nitpick there. It's it's not something you just kind of figured out already. Like if Jason Voorhees is chasing you, he has a knife. Like you don't know what these aliens are out here looking for. Holy shit! I wrote they got Peter already. Better than being a demon version of your younger sister, I suppose. So there goes another Hereditary shout out. I'll stop right there. I will say the cat Frodo made it. Come on, man. And I actually I have a thought about the cat later on in the movie, but I'll save it for now. Really good and intense set of scenes here that capture the madness and the feeling of being absolutely terrified. I do feel like the first, I don't know, 30 to 40 minutes of the movie is just more kind of setting the scene. And then we get, about the 45-minute mark, we really dive in to what the movie is for. So go ahead.
Yeah, you guys already said it, but I'm going to say it again. The first thing I put was one of my major issues with the movie. We're 14 minutes into it, and they've already figured out that if you're silent, you're safe. That just doesn't work for me. I mean, staying quiet is the best way to hide, but when the alien enters the theater and gets face to face with Buddy, how did he not freak out and like run or something? But he just like, okay, be quiet. It's not a fucking T-Rex, unless he knew it couldn't see him, and that's just a big leap in logic there. I do like how Sam's cancer wasn't just a useless bit of backstory. Like she consistently and constantly deals with it, so it's meaningful to the story. I can't imagine going through something like that in the real world now, let alone during an alien invasion in the end of the world. That's tough. I don't really get why he was in such a hurry to turn off the generator. I mean, yeah, it makes a lot of noise, but to me, as long as you're quiet and in a different room altogether, you can have lights and stay safe. Instead, he did too much, ripped his shirt, and wound up dead. Dummy. That's all I got.
No, I want to follow up on something you just said, Dustin, about her cancer thing. I agree with you. Like they consistently stay on it the whole movie, but I wish they would have leaned into it even more a little bit. Like she's doing a lot of walking, a lot of action. She says her muscles are on fire. I wish she kind of brought that up like while running or while she's swimming with Eric, like saying, "Oh my, I'm so tired. Like my body is so exhausted." I wish they would have leaned into it a little bit more, honestly.
Yeah, and that's totally fair.
But you're right. They did stay on it the whole time. It wasn't just mentioned once and they forgot about it. Anywho, she opens the cat food a little louder than she hoped and spots two kids hiding in a water fountain in the park. She joins them and offers them the candy bar. A helicopter says to head south with extreme caution towards the boat evacuations. People begin to trek as the aliens chase after the helicopter sound. She and the two kids are hiding in the subway exit as an alien walks by. They exit cautiously, and she looks around as others fill the street. Sam whispers to the kids to go with the crowd, and she goes the opposite way of the masses. Nice overhead shot of her as we hear coughing, rolling luggage, and wheelchairs. Suddenly, the streets fill, and all the aliens leap out the buildings and begin attacking the crowds. Panic ensues, and all hell breaks loose. A man grabs Sam's legs, begging for her help, and she's trapped under a car that's fallen on her ankle. I don't know how it didn't break her ankle, but we'll just move on. She breaks free and hobbles away as the mother yelling for her kid is snatched up. That was very sad. She makes it into an alley, exhausted, trying to catch her breath. Her cat chases after a mouse and grabs a drink of water as Eddie Munson himself exits the flooded subway entrance. The cat finds Sam and reunites again. Sam tells Eric to go, but he continues following her. She's frustrated at him, but he continues. It begins raining and she chats with Eric. She tells him to go to the seaport and stop following her. Eric is visibly shaken and scared. I don't want to die here, he tells her. She says, let's get out of the rain, and they make it to her apartment. Eric kicks the door in when the thunder rolls. Shout out to Garth Brooks. She looks through her medicine cabinet and drawers, saying her body is on fire. She asks if he has family here. He says no, his parents are in England. She tells him to get to the water. She's going to get pizza in Harlem at Patsy's, the last slice ever. He says, let's go get pizza, and asks if she wrote the poetry book. He asks about her father, and she says he was a great piano player. She has him read a poem called Bad Math. She screams as the thunder rolls, and Eric joins her in the next one, venting their frustrations in a very emotional moment. All right, Mike, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
3:30 in the morning. Oh, sorry, my bad. Not a soul inside. Yeah, Dustin knows the words.
Dustin knows the words. There you go.
Yeah, he is. Side note, I know this cat is hungry, but goddamn, it's a terrible time to try to feed your cat, brother. Like, come on, man. Like, I know, like, I'm not saying we don't care about animals. I'm just saying. All right. Anyway, like I said, I know the cat is hungry, but this feels like a really inopportune time to feed this cat and open its can of food. Like, if we figured out that sound's the thing, I don't know if doing that is super smart. But anyway, this idea, though, of water kind of being a protector that we get in the first film, I like that they're establishing it here. So if you think about the movie or the order these movies are supposed to go in, this makes sense, right? Or they kind of are talking behind water using, the waterfall as a reason where I can breathe, I can speak a little bit as long as I'm surrounded or near or by water where they can't hear me. And we do know the aliens and how they feel about water. So I thought it, was really good. I thought it kept good continuity personally. I may have just hung out at the fountain. I don't know about y'all, but I might have just hung out at the water fountain until somebody came and got me, I guess. But anyway, so I will say the idea like I said, I would have stayed at the fountain because the idea in movies, and this one in particular, is we have to go out there to see what's going on. This is the reason we named our show what we did, or why Dustin did. Don't go out there. Stay in, figure out a way to be quiet, and then escape when you get the chance. I do love this scene where everyone's basically acting like a zombie. It's basically a fish in a barrel for these aliens. They're all loud. They're all kind of mumbling and growing, like making too much noise. It's basically take your pick for these guys. I do doubt that it was I don't think it was coincidence that New York was quote unquote ground zero again. Obviously this time it would be Brooklyn. Eddie, how the fuck did you get here, buddy? Where did you come from? You've dealt with something that looks very similar to these aliens before. I thought that's pretty interesting casting, especially in a scene later in the movie for sure.
I don't get the reference.
I know, buddy. It's okay. It's actually a touching scene when I'm just going to call him Eddie. When Eddie makes eye contact with this cat, because you can almost see a little bit of like life re-enter his eyes, like somebody over here, or at least maybe I'll have this cat, and that gives me a reason to kind of keep fighting to live. It does not get much worse than this day, though. Not only is your city invaded by aliens, now it's fucking raining. I got to be wet on top of this shit. This is bullshit, man. I don't want to hang out and do this. They kind of are, Sam kind of acts hesitant to see him here. But I don't know. I feel like I'd be really happy to see a real human, especially with that shield of water in front of them. Like, oh, we can talk. We can kind of maybe get a plan together. Hey, you're cool. You're not a weirdo. Okay, great. But anyway, and side note, Lupita's voice has to be shot, right? Like her throat. Because this movie and Us, she had to whisper for probably 75% of this film. And then the voice stuff that she did in Us, I felt like that had to be really tough few years there as far as filmmaking goes. I will say Sam's character motivation is super understandable. The world may be ending around her, but with her cancer, which they've really made a main character point here, her world was already on the way of ending anyways, or so we think, or we may think. So just staying alive long enough to eat another piece of this pizza is all that she needs. And I thought that was really cool and really solid writing. Last thing, and this is the most I have in the whole film, so that's why it was so long. I apologize. I love this. I love the shouting scene. I think it's really good. As you guys know, I'm a loud motherfucker. I'm Jimmy Hart on this show for a reason. So I can't even imagine not being able to speak. It is part of who I am. I literally speak for a living. I do this show. I would yell any chance I could if I had to be silent for most of the time. So I really like using the thunder and the water to be able to just yell and let out, that anger, that frustration. So I thought it was a really, really good set of scenes right here.
Yeah, the two kids in the fountain. I mean, it's an emotional scene, but I'm supposed to believe that two kids made it on their own for what I assumed has been several hours, and they didn't make a noise. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that those kids would be alive. Pretty cool shot of all the aliens climbing up the buildings as the choppers fly overhead like that. I don't really get why Sam didn't go with the group and try to evacuate. Like, if she doesn't want to escape and live, that's fine. She knows she's dying. That's okay. I get it. But why has she been silent this whole time? If her goal is not to survive and get out of here, then why is she quiet? The dumbass grabbing her ankle under the car and yelling, that was annoying as hell. Why would he do that? What's the thought process? How was she supposed to help him? You got her by the ankle, dipshit. But perhaps my biggest issue with the whole movie is the fucking cat. One, how did it always seem to find its way back to her? You know how big New York City is? And two, not a single meow the whole time? Please. The cat is more of a tool for convenience than anything else in this movie. Mainly used for bringing Eric to Sam. Also, while we're at it, fuck Eric, because he was a twat in Gladiator 2. He's also pretty pathetic as a man in this movie. This set of scenes had a ton of issues for me, but that's not to say that I'm not enjoying the movie still.
So it's funny you say that. I actually left that out of my notes, Dustin. I guess we could go ahead and talk about it. He's a little bit soft, brother. He's just a little soft, is all.
Got soft
A little
hands.
sensitive. He's got soft hands in this movie.
Yeah, what a fucking pathetic pussy. Like the whole time, he was pathetic. Every time that he came on the screen, all I could see was the Be a Man guy from TikTok. Go ahead.
All right. He was a twat in Gladiator too.
He was, man. Tell me he wasn't.
His brother was worse though.
Oh, they both suck. Yeah.
Yeah, they both suck. Them teeth on that brother though, Jesus Christ. All right. Next day, the sun shines and cars drive by as a jump scare of an alien happens at the window. Sam awakes and starts her trek to Harlem again. She stops and picks up a book and realizes Eric is behind her. He hands her the journal. She knocks books off the rolling desk and the aliens approach. The two take off quickly and quietly as possible. They make it into a spinning door, but it's jammed on a briefcase that makes a lot of racket when it falls over. The two take off running again through the building as herds of aliens pursue them. Eric throws a rock through a car window, triggering the alarm, which was smart, and they make it into subway tunnels. They start swimming in the flooded tunnels, and Sam calms Eric down as an alien hovers them. It begins chasing after them as Eric lets out a light groan. They swim fast as they can, and the alien drowns as the two make it to the other side. Shout out to Adele. Eric helps Sam get out of the water, and the cat runs off again. Fuck that cat. Mike, that's what I agree with Dustin 100%. That cat makes no sense in this movie. They're back in the church, and Sam falls asleep as the priest prays for her. Sam vomits, and Eric writes asking what meds she needs. He takes the paper and goes on a medicine quest. He makes it to a drugstore and grabs a flashlight. He's scared by the cat jumping on the counter, and it crawls on him, and he smiles from the embrace. The two walk out, but again, the fucking cat runs off, and Eric chases after. An alien crashes down as Eric spots the cat on a steel beam. He climbs up the beams after the kitty as an alien splits a head open and sends out a cry for others to join and eat. Eric makes a slight noise, again, and an alien gets right beside him. Eric's butt cheeks clench tight enough to crack a walnut, but he doesn't make any noise and the aliens move on. Eric is back to Sam with the medicine and helps apply the pad to her side. He gives her a thumbs up and sits down exhausted. He tells her I'm here and says his father played the piano. She tells him she loves seeing him play at Patsy's and getting pizza after. He asks what happened to him, and she says he died like I am now. Not before we get pizza, he tells her. The two embrace in a touching moment. And Dustin, I just wanted to say something about something you mentioned in the last set of scenes. I think the reason she isn't like making noise is she wants her last moment to remember her dad and Patsy's, then she's good with dying. That's the only reason I think of that.
Then do it. Why does she drag it out an hour and a half or over the course of several days?
Damn.
We got a movie to make, brother.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just a character. That's subpar writing, in my opinion. Like, don't make that be the reason. Make it be some emotional attachment, like she can't leave Queens this is where she's from. She's got a sense of pride. She's not going to run. Instead, it's I don't know.
Hey, I'm with you, so you ain't got to convince me. I'm with you.
Man, I'm Jon Snow in this motherfucker. I love it. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I love the way the city looks in this shot. In my notes, I put apocalyptic, but not too apocalyptic. Just a little dash of apocalyptic on top of the city here. I thought it was pretty cool. And I think the city looks great throughout the whole film once all the destruction happens. For the first time ever saying this, maybe, this chase scene was great. I don't think I've ever said that before. Maybe Halloween 2018 has one in there, I think. But no, this chase scene is great. The lack of score or any noise for that matter, makes any noise that happens that much louder and makes this alien genuinely terrifying. Having the subway flood is a cool visual. And I will say it's really fucking intense here, even though, we kind of debated in the last about Eric here. I thought it was an intense scene, him struggling to keep from making noise, from keeping his mouth closed. And I just love the shot of the alien coming up from behind him. Look now, about this flooded subway. If Jack and Rose can make it out of a flooded object, so can these two. This isn't even the middle of the Atlantic. I need y'all to get it the fucking together, man. I will say, we can talk about whatever we want about the character of Eric. It's very, very sweet of him to worry about her meds. Like, he really goes out of his way to make sure she's got the meds that she needs to stay alive long enough to get to this pizza. So I thought it had a lot of heart and very touching. This is also, to my knowledge, the first time I've ever seen one of the aliens that looks like this, almost like some weird humanoid alien guy thing. It's not like the split flower face or whatever, but it just looked different. And then this is the first time I've ever seen them communicate like this with each other in this way, where they're kind of like calling arms to each other. Like, very interesting visuals. It's a very interesting scene for sure. And then we get to one of my favorite scenes in the film. I fucking love this scene. I was so worried they're going to kill Eric here. Wouldn't be the first time he dies on screen. Shout out to Eddie. But the close up again.
Spoiler.
Oh, come on. Not my fault. Watch the show. It's been fucking 10 years since the last season came out. Fuck.
I'm good.
I will say, hey, I love the close up shot of the alien coming behind him. It is genuinely terrifying. These two are acting their ass off. And I feel like this is how two people would really just be fighting to stay alive. I feel like it's how they'd interact, talking about their dads and everything. Super emotional, really good way to end the set of scene.
Yeah, how all those books that were on the sidewalk stayed dry during a thunderstorm, that's a modern miracle. Pretty tense scene following when they're trying to escape while all the aliens are busting through the glass windows and doors. So much glass shattered, I half expected Stone Cold to make an entrance. Then trekking through that nasty-ass water in a subway seems worse than getting killed by aliens. I'm out, dog. Fuck that water. Then his dumbass gasps and draws the ire of the alien, causing them to have to completely submerge in the water. I'd kill him myself if I'm Sam. Eric kind of redeems himself by going out for Sam's medicines. That's a nice gesture and honestly the least he could do. But when he's at the pharmacy, the fucking cat giving us a jump scare pissed me off so bad. Like, I'd sacrifice that cat myself. I'm over it at this point. No shot I'd follow it to the construction site on my way back. It's on its own. It's doing a pretty good job of finding us throughout this movie, so it'll find us. Side note, why did it get dark so quickly? Wasn't it daylight when he left going to the pharmacy? Like, how long was he in that fucking pharmacy? But the scene at the construction site was supposed to be tense, and I suppose it was, but it just annoyed me because fuck that cat. I don't care. I'm not going after it. I'm not climbing up there. No, but we're progressing along.
Real. Fuck that cat. I'm not dying for a cat. Next morning, Sam puts her shoes back on and the two exit the church. As we get visuals of the abandoned city scenery, they make it to Patsy's and Sam gets very emotional seeing the place has been wrecked. She falls to her knees in the streets disheartened. Eric holds her in his arms, comforting her, asking her where her father played piano. The two go inside a restaurant with band equipment and she plugs her iPod into a stereo. She tickles some ivories as Eric finds a pizza place. He returns to her with a pizza behind his back. He asks for the pen and writes Patsy's on the box. The two share a post-apocalyptic pizza together, and it has no flop, one bite. You know the rules. The cat snatches a piece, and the two share some liquor. He takes her drink, and he has her come on stage. He pretends to intro her to a crowd and does a card trick. The two put on a show for their audience as a sentimental score plays. She's shocked he got the right card, and they exit the stage. They walk outside and hear a boat siren. Sam takes her coat off and gives it to him. They see the aliens at the edge of the shore, and they know what must be done. The two leave the building quietly and slowly head to the water. They make it to a now junkyard and hide in a wrecked car. She tells him to breathe. She nods and embraces her cat. She hands Frodo to Eric, who is now in tears, and she tells him to run. And the next set of scenes are the ending. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, this scene in front of Patsy's is gut-wrenching, even though you know it's coming. There was no other ending to this Patsy Pizza story than this, and it still hit me right in the gut, man. I thought it was heartbreaking. And I love that they've become genuine friends, nothing more, which I'll touch on in a second. I love that they've become genuine friends here with a hug, a real meaningful human connection hug, just because she definitely needed it in that moment. Shout out to Sam here, because if this were my situation, cancer, world's ending, I'm getting hammered. So her having a little bit of alcohol ain't nothing. I'm chugging the bottle. She finally gets some free fucking pizza. Very sweet gesture from Eric. Free fucking pizza will always be how we say it on this show. Anyway, I thought this was maybe the most touching moment out of any movie that we've done ever? Question mark. I'd have to really sit and think about it, but this one was, man, it really tugged on my heartstrings for some reason. I'm not gonna lie, acting out a magic trick with no words would be really difficult for me, because that's like half the whole act of being a magician is pick a card, any card, all that showmanship stuff. So very, very well acted at least. I will say, and maybe this is a nitpick. I know the thing with the aliens and water, but like, don't come up here on your fucking ferry, man. That thing's loud as shit. I know everyone has to be quiet, but how do they know those aliens won't cross water, or the creatures won't get in water? Like, how do you know that? Like, how do we know that? Is it because they've been hiding from the rain the day before? Like, what's the knowledge here? Very interesting. I know y'all didn't like this cat, but Frodo out here saving the day, man. He saved the day in this situation. So, and I do think this scene right here, where she basically lets him know, you go, I'm staying, another just freaking heart-wrenching one, man. Really good set of scenes. I mean, I don't know if the movie's enjoyable, but I love how it was made.
Yeah, I don't have much on this one at all. At this point, I'm just wondering why Eric still has his tie on. Lose that shit, bro. Get as comfortable as possible. What the fuck you still wearing a necktie for? The pizza, though, look, when they finally get the pizza that they do get, it's been sitting out for days. Hell no. I'm not eating that shit. I don't care how bad I want pizza. I'm not eating that. But I'll definitely take that Bullet Bourbon. Shout out to that. That's good shit. Nice emotional scenes here, though, with Eric giving Samira some comfort and some laughs, and Sam giving her sweater to Eric, setting us up for an emotional ending.
Alrighty, here's the ending, guys. I don't have a lot here. Sam takes a crowbar and begins bashing cars, setting off the alarms. Henry on the boat has them stop, seeing all their commotion. Eric takes off, running towards the water, dodging the aliens who are also running by. The aliens hear him and chase him now. Eric, running full speed, makes it to the edge of the dock and leaps into the water just in time. He and Frodo begin swimming to the boat as a tear-filled Sam watches him. Eric boards the boat and is told he's safe. He hugs Henry with tears flooding his eyes. Sam is back in Patsy's, looking at pictures of she and her father, becoming emotional, reminiscing on the good old days. Eric finds a note in the coat pocket telling him to take care of the cat, don't feed it too much, and thank you for bringing me home and living again. We see Sam in the streets listening to her iPod until she removes the headphones and plays the music out loud, and an alien appears behind her, and an inevitable doom following her. Mike, that's the ending. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as happy as a sad ending can be, right? Just a crazy amount of sacrifice from Sam. And honestly, if I'm Eric, I'd have a hard time leaving her behind. And we know what her fate is or ends up being, but that's still really tough to swallow if you're Eric. I've talked about the aliens in the water, so I feel like the context is important, but they never say it. We know it, but it's like never really said in this particular film, okay. I will say her walking down the street listening to music was looked like a moment of joy for her, but I didn't love the ending or ending on that note. I guess I would have. I don't know exactly what I wanted, but I wanted something a little more from the character, a little something more, finite, for lack of a better term. So, but besides that, I thought last 30 minutes of the film were really just keep me locked in and keep me very interested in the story.
Yeah, this girl's insane. Like legitimately insane. It's so unnecessary for her to, sacrifice herself. They both could have made it. I mean, I get that she's dying and she wants to go on her own terms, whatever. But she could have made it out of the city and found the medicine to help get her at least a little more time. Or if she doesn't want to leave, she didn't have to make all that noise. Like all he had to do was stay quiet. There's no one else out there. The last time that she tried to go, or everyone was trying to go to the ferries, there's too many people. The aliens heard the footsteps and heard all the commotion. The streets are literally empty. He could have made it on his own. So her smashing all the windows, setting off all the alarms, that was unnecessary. Seeing that the sweater that she gave Eric was her dad's, that was emotional as fuck. And the letter that she wrote Eric, that was a nice touch too. So really pulling on the heartstrings there. But man, that iPod is built different. I'm assuming that she had it on her when they went swimming through the subway, and it still works. That's impressive. Nice. But decent ending to a decent movie.
Don't get me wrong, the letter was a nice touch, but he was swimming in the water. Like, you ever put paper under the water? Like, you can't read shit on there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. What did she write that in?
All right. Anywho, let's jump into social media. I'll do Instagram and Facebook. Dustin, you can do the old X and Blue Skies if we got anything. All right, we go to Instagram first. K Scanlon 653, teammate of the show, Kevin. He commented, pretty good, unnecessary prequel. I agree. I think it's a clear bottom film though. Out of the three, part 2 is my favorite of the franchise. 1 and 2 are basically interchangeable for me. I like both. I think they both tickle my fancy at the right time. All right, we'll go over to Facebook now. We only have one comment from the Glee man, Mr. Sean Irwin. I really enjoyed this movie, but that cat is the most unrealistic thing I've ever seen. Overall, damn good entry in the series, though. And I replied, I laughed. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. All right. None on the Blue Sky tonight, but we do have 3 on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. Andrew Ferguson said, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought they were going to beat a dead horse. They could make this movie 1,000 more times and just switch the location and protagonist, or pull letters from Iwo Jima and give us a movie from the aliens' point of view. Respectfully, please don't do that 1,000 more times. No. Randy Smith, Go Dog, said, maybe I need to rewatch, but I just found it kind of boring at times. I really enjoyed the first. Fair. And then Mookie Boomer T said, I think this one might be my favorite of the trilogy / franchise, and I ain't really a big A Quiet Place fan in the first place. Fair.
Okay.
Mike, you got the budget?
Sure. Quiet Place Day 1 was made for a whopping, by the way, $67 million. I remember at the time people thinking the movie was going to kind of flop as far as making its budget back, but nay.
It did very well.
Very, very well at the box office. $140 million and $98 million in that opening weekend. So really good numbers, and probably why rumor has it, probably another Quiet Place movie around the corner.
I mean, I'm fine with another one of the movies because I think they're all fine movies, but no more prequels.
Well, I'm not a prequel guy.
Pick up where,
but
huh?
So normally I'm with you. I'm not a prequel guy. I've said that a bunch, but like for whatever reason it works for me here. So call me a criticizer for sure.
And that's fair. That to each their own. It's just like I said, the first one or the second movie showed us already what happened on day 1, so we didn't need it.
That's fair.
If they want to pick up where the second one left off, hell yeah, like Nico said.
Yeah, in their story.
Yeah,
I think they will.
But,
I think they will.
As far as the box office, though, I remember I saw a lot of buzz about this movie. I saw a lot of people excited to go see it, and then I saw a lot of people hyping it and gassing it after it released. I think that people are prisoners of the moment. A lot of times, like if a movie's decent, they leave the theater buzzing. They're like, "Oh, this is the best one." Because I often leave the theater, and I did on this one. I left the theater thinking, did I watch the same movie? Like, was I in the wrong theater? Is this what y'all are guessing? Because it was okay. But anyway.
No, the funny thing is for you to do fun facts, Dustin, is I just saw a post on Twitter or X. This guy from Bloody Disgusting said that, like, Strange Darlings production company is suing their promoters because they only made $3 million. Strange Darling only made $3 million. Strange Darling is way better than this movie.
Way head and shoulders better. That's a travesty that it only got. I mean, Strange Darling's promotion company needs to be sued, and so does The Substance for that matter, because those movies were incredible, and I saw no marketing for either of them.
Yeah, The Substance still made like $57 million, but that's only because of word of mouth. There wasn't no production or promoter.
Yeah. No, hell no.
Dustin, you got any fun facts you want to share?
I got a few here. The cat Frodo was actually played by two cats, one named Schnitzel and one named Nico. So, hey. Patsy's Pizzeria in Harlem is considered by many to be the originator of the New York style pizza. So that's pretty cool that they put some real New York shit in the movie. Initially, Paramount wanted Frodo the cat to be a CGI creation, but Michael Sarnowski insisted on using a real animal. Let me say, thank God. I mentioned Gladiator 2 earlier, and the CG animals were by far the worst part of that movie. That fucking monkey dog, spoiler alert, get the fuck out of here.
Them fucking Great Dane baboons. Them things piss me off.
But not only that, like all the animals look bad because the rest of the movie looks so. I know this isn't a Gladiator 2 podcast, but all the rest of the movie looks so good. Like they did such a good set design and everything. And then the CG animals look fine by CG standard, except for those baboon dogs. But it's just they stood out so much. Anyway, John Krasinski handpicked Michael Sarnowski to direct this prequel, as he was so impressed with the heart that Sarnowski brought to the film Pig. Can't stress enough. Go watch that movie. Nicolas Cage is in it. Neon film. That's a good-ass movie. I can't believe I'm praising a Nick Cage movie that much, but it was great. The last one I've got is Lupita Nyong'o was in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which I know Nico has seen, with Carrie Fisher, who was in Scream 3, the most underrated Scream movie, with David Arquette.
Most underrated Scream. I agree with you, Dustin. Great.
Yes.
That movie fucking sucks.
You fucking
Get out
suck.
of here.
All right, let's jump to our favorite kill, least favorite kill in the rating. Dustin, you want to kick us off so you can jot these scores down?
Yes, sir. Favorite kill. I don't know, man. They're all pretty much on the same level, except for one. So, least favorite kill, Ruben. He died for no reason. Just let the damn generator run, bro. As far as my rating and final thoughts, it's my least favorite of the three, but I did still enjoy it. I know it might not have sounded like that throughout the review, but I did enjoy it. It just didn't need to be made, in my opinion. We know what day one was like because we saw it in the second movie. If this was the first movie released, I think I'd like it a lot more. But it didn't expand on anything that I didn't already know or assume. So it took it down a notch. I gave it a 6.
Well, I'll be favorite kill. I'm right there with you, man. Like, what do you pick? Like, they're all kind of aliens just grabbing people. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm picking Henry slamming that dude's head into the wall. I'll pick that one. Least favorite kill, Ruben, sure, because he just got Randy Orton out of nowhere. I gave the movie a 6 too, Dustin. Like, I think it's good. It's above average, but like, I'm right there with you. Like, this isn't the A Quiet Place movie I wanted to see. I wanted to see the continuation of what just happened. You could have brought Cillian Murphy back, one of the hottest actors out right now. Just got off Oppenheimer, 28 years later. Like, the man is, call him fish grease. Man's on fire right now. I wanted that movie. Like, why did we get another prequel when we already kind of had our day one thing? But the acting is great. Lupita is fantastic. I think this is our third movie with Lupita in it. Little Monster and Us. Little Monster is still her best movie to me. She was so charming and wonderful in that. Great pick, Dustin. I love that movie. Alex Wolff is always welcome on my screen. I'm a big fan of his. And I thought Joseph Quinn did a great job as well. Very emotional, very action-packed. I saw the movie in theaters as well. It might have been opening weekend, maybe a day or two after or something like that, in IMAX. I got to admit, it's not the best movie to go see in theaters because there's no fucking talking. So you're just kind of watching stuff. But anywho, I think the movie is just fine, but I agree with a lot of others. It's definitely third for me. I gave it a 6.
All right. I'll go ahead and read Brother Brian's since he couldn't be here tonight. In our instant reaction, straight out of the theater, I think I like this one more than at least Dustin and Nico. Although I did think Dustin had changed his mind by the end of it after we recorded the reaction. My opinion wasn't waned at all since then. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. After seeing 2 installments on a small town scale, it was very cool to see the invasion from a large city perspective. I think it was very good addition to Krasinski and Sarnowski's universe they've created, and it's led by the masterful Lupita Nyong'o. This movie has a ton of heart. The relationship between Samira and Eric isn't a romantic one. It's just simply one that, like I said, has a ton of heart. I'm going to go a little bit higher than the second one, but not quite as high as the first, and give this one an 8.75. I had a blast with it. How?
Well, John Redcorn.
Nancy.
And that's where you say, what? Peggy Hill. Anyway, all right. Okay. I mean, I agree. I don't know where you go with a favorite kill. You know, a lot of the alien kills look pretty cool. I mean, I didn't really write down a least favorite and favorite for this because, I mean, they're all kind of the same. A little bit like, you know, some of the, or a lot of the Scream kills, stab. This is kind of all the same stuff to me. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is a really solid entry in the franchise. And normally I'm not a prequel guy, but when it works, it works. When it doesn't, it doesn't. This is not Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, you know, kind of prequel. Like the prequel to the remake. That one I wasn't asking for. And I wasn't necessarily asking for this, but I was pleasantly surprised. I think the writing is really good, minus a few nitpicks, which I already pointed out. And I think the acting is really what makes this movie stand out. Not that the other ones don't have good acting. It does. You know, they both do. But so does this one. And I think it makes it a strong entry. It's not my favorite. I think the first one is probably still my favorite. But I would actually have this just a smidge above that second one if I had to kind of like redo it. I know we've done the second one kind of recently, but I wouldn't mind watching them prequel, first one, second one back to back kind of. But that would be a slog. That would probably take a long time, so I'm probably not going to do that, to be honest with you.
Man talked himself out of it.
I did. I was like, oh, God, that's like 6 hours of my life I got to commit. No fucking way. Anyway, enjoyable film, great acting. I gave this movie an 8.25.
Okay. So that gives us a composite score of a 7.25. IMDb has a 6.3. Letterboxd right in line with a 3.2 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes. Critics love this movie. 87%.
In my defense, this movie, totally fine. Hour and 29 minutes. We're in, we're out. That second Quiet Place is long as shit, man.
I think it's only like an hour and a half too, though. I don't think it's that long.
It don't feel that way, Paul.
I know. Trust me. Some hour and a half movies feel like 2.5 hours.
And that doesn't mean it's not good. It just feels longer.
I understand. Any final thoughts on A Quiet Place Day 1? All right, I'm going to shout out our blood donors, and I'm going to announce my pick for next week in Sci-Fi Month. All right, blood donors, we appreciate y'all. Legendary blood donor Dana Tucker. I don't even know how many times you donated at this point, but we appreciate it. Camper Level Reoccurring Nina, Horror Movie Crew Podcast, Alex Elgin, Steve Schmidt, Michelle Mirza, and Chris Manley. Camp Council Reoccurring Edwin Hernandez-Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis from Too Close to Home Pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, and Max K. Really appreciate y'all. It does mean the world to us that you do those monthly contributions. Takes a huge burden off of us. All right, my pick for next week in Sci-Fi Month. I know Dustin is a big fan. It's one of his favorites. He convinced me how great the movie was. I finally got to see it in theaters myself this year. I was mesmerized. I never expected to love a Godzilla movie, but by God, it was fantastic. Godzilla -1, baby. We're going back to 2023. I'm excited to review this one. It's a fantastic movie.
Hey, buddy.
Saw that movie on Christmas Day 2020. Or no, I'm sorry. I saw that movie in January. It was on the re-release of this year. What a fucking movie. Great pick.
Nico, I just want to say how proud I am of you for picking a Godzilla movie. Your people, as in your people from Kentucky, have suffered under Godzilla for so long. I'm happy to see a Kentuckian picking a Godzilla movie. Congratulations.
I'm just happy to hear him pronounce the L's.
We'll be back next week. Y'all have a good one.
Jason X.
Just want to remind everybody.
Don't go out there